وكذلك في تربية أبنائه.
And also in developing and growing and training her children, giving them tarbiyah.
فإنها تنسى كما قال مشاكل الأبناء.
She forgets the problems that are created by the children, between the children.
لو لم تنسى مشاكل الأبناء في البيت.
If she didn't forget about the problems of the children that they create inside of the house,
لانفجر البيت فيها.
The house would have exploded as a result of that.
لأن هي التي تقابل الأولاد في البيت وأنت في الخارج.
Because she's the one who's inside of the house dealing with those children, and you are outside dealing with what you deal with.
أنت لو جلست يوما واحدا في البيت لربما حصل وضع غير طبيعي.
The Sheikh said, for the man, if one of you were to have to sit in your house and stay in your house and take care of the children, then it would be unnatural for you.
ولذلك برحمة الله عز وجل نحن تنسى.
So, from Allah's rahmah is that He created the woman to forgive.
إذا لابد أن نعرف طبيعة المرأة.
So we have to know the nature of the woman.
لو أمرتها بشيء فلم تفعل بعد فترة.
If you command her and tell her to do something and she didn't do it after some time,
فلا تتهمها بأنها متعمدة في تركه.
do not accuse her that she intentionally wanted to disobey you.
فاعلم بأنها نسيت.
You should know that she forgot.
لأنها كثيرة النسيان.
Because she forgets a lot.
وإذا كنت أنت تذكر مرتين فإنها تذكر مرة واحدة.
And if you remember twice, she remember once.
وإذا كنت تذكر 10 أشياء فهي لا تذكر إلا 5 أشياء.
And if you remember 10 things, she will only remember 5.
إذا لابد أن يعرف الرجل طبيعة المرأة.
So the man has to know the nature of the lady.
والله عز وجل بين لنا طبيعة المرأة.
And Allah has explained to us the nature of the lady.
نعذرها في طبيعتها.
So we have to excuse her for her nature.
وهذه من الأمور التي بينها لنا الإسلام حتى نقل ونقلل من الطلاق أو تقل عملية الطلاق في أحيان زوجها.
These issues that have been mentioned, Ikhwani, these 7 issues, they're issues that Islam has explained to us, and they have Islam has explained it and elucidated to us so that we would know how to reduce the divorce rate.
وهذه كانت من الأمور التي تتعلق بالعلاقة الزوجية للتقليل من الطلاق.
Also from the affairs that are connected to this issue of our marital life in terms of reducing the divorce rate,
أن الرجل فيه شيء من الظلم.
is that the man, he has some level of oppression within himself.
ولذلك الله عز وجل شدد على الرجل بهذا.
And for that reason, Allah Ta'ala, He was very stern in this regard towards the men.
ولذا إذا ذكر الله عز وجل موضوع الطلاق والنكاح في القرآن.
And for this reason, when Allah mentions the issue of divorce and the issue of marriage in the Quran,
في سورة البقرة.
in Surah Al-Baqarah,
في سورة النساء.
in Surah Al-Nisa,
في سورة الطلاق.
and Al-Talaq,
نرى بكثرة بأن الله عز وجل يقول اتقوا الله اتقوا الله اتقوا الله.
we find in these ayats that Allah mentions over and over to the men, fear Allah, fear Allah, fear Allah.
ولذا انتهت سورة الطلاق.
And then when the end of Surah Talaq is done,
ماذا قال الله عز وجل؟
what did Allah say?
قال وكأي من قرية.
Allah said, and how many cities were there?
عتت عن أمر ربها.
It disobeyed the command of her Lord
ورسله.
and the messengers.
فحاسبناها حسابا شديدا.
We took them to account, a strong account.
وعذبناها عذابا نكرا.
And we punished them unheard of punishment, serious punishment.
فذاقت وبال أمرها.
And they tasted the effect of their disobedience.
وكان عاقبتها خسران.
And the end result of them was to be lost.
أعد الله لهم عذابا شديدا.
Allah has prepared for them a grievous punishment.
فاتقوا الله يا أولي الألباب.
So fear Allah, you people of intelligence.
ما علاقة سورة الطلاق بهذه النهاية؟
What's the connection between Surah Talaq, divorce, with this ayah?
وذلك أن الله عز وجل يحذر الأزواج.
The Sheikh said the connection here is that Allah Azza wa Jalla in that last ayah is warning the husband, the men, to fear Allah in their wives.
وذلك أن الله عز وجل أهلك قرية بأكملها.
And that's because in this last ayah, Surah Al-Talaq, Allah destroyed a whole city, completely, the whole city.
مئات الأشخاص آلاف الأشخاص.
Thousands of people, hundreds, thousands of people.
ما ضر ذلك الله تبارك وتعالى.
Well, that didn't hurt Allah Azza wa Jalla.
أهلكهم بأكملهم. ألا يهلك الرجل إلى ما ضرب المرأة.
He destroyed all of them, all of them. A man, he oppresses a woman, Allah destroyed all of them.
ولذلك حذر الله عز وجل الرجل من أن يظلم زوجته.
And for this, Allah Azza wa Jalla has prohibited the man from being oppressive towards his wife.
لتقليل عملية الطلاق كذلك
Also, from the affairs that causes the talaq, the divorce, to be minimized,
أن الله تبارك وتعالى جعل لنا مراحل في موضوع الطلاق.
Allah Azza wa Jal, He has given us different stages and different levels in regards to divorce.
وذلك أولا قبل أن تبدأ بالطلاق أولا عليك أن تذكر المرأة.
Like, for an example, if there's some drama between the husband and the wife, the problem, the first thing that the husband has to do is he has to remind the wife.
لا يبدأ بالطلاق قبل أن يذكرها.
He doesn't just divorce her just like that without reminding her.
ثم إذا لم ينفع هذا الوعظ مع الأيام.
If she didn't benefit from his advice and from his remembrance after some days,
يستخدم بعد ذلك الهجر.
now he boycotts her, he avoids her.
ولا يهجر قبل أن يذكرها.
And he doesn't boycott her before advising her.
ولا يطلقها قبل أن يهجرها.
Nor does he divorce her before boycotting her.
وذاك المرأة عصبية.
And that's because the woman, she is emotional.
إذا ما هجرها زوجها.
If her husband were to boycott her and avoid her,
يوما أو يومين أو شهرا.
1 day, 2 days, 1 month,
فإنها تتأثر بسرعة.
she's going to be affected by that very quickly.
تراجع ربما زوجها.
Then she'll come back to her senses, go back to her husband after that.
هذا إذا ضابط سابق.
So, Khwani, this is something that is in our deen.
الضابط الثاني.
The eighth point.
أنه إذا طلقها لا يجوز لها أن تخرج من البيت.
The eighth point, how Islam came to reduce the divorce rate. If he did divorce her, she can't leave the house. She shouldn't leave the house.
يجب عليها أن تعتد في بيتها.
She has to observe her waiting period, her iddah. She has to do it in her house.
لا يجوز له أن يخرجها.
And it's not permissible for him to put her out.
ولا يجوز لها أن تذهب إلى بيتها.
It's not permissible for her to go to her parents' house neither.
وتصبح هي في ذمة زوجها.
And she has to be under the responsibility of her husband.
قال الله عز وجل.
Allah said,
لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن.
do not, when you divorce these women, do not put them out of their homes.
ولا يخرجن.
And they shouldn't leave.
لمن؟
Why is that?
الله عز وجل لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا.
Allah said in the Quran, it may be that Allah will create something after that.
كيف؟
How?
وذلك أنه يوميا يراها.
Because she's in her iddah, he divorced her, and he sees her in the house every day.
وهي تراه يوميا.
And she also sees him in her iddah, they're seeing each other every day.
وفي هذه الطلقة الرجعية لا تحرم عليه ولا يحرم عليه.
And in this first divorce that took place, she's still halal for him, and vice versa. They're halal for each other.
ربما تتعافى قلوب مرة أخرى.
So in this state, maybe the hearts will come back together after that.
وربما تتزين له.
And maybe she'll beautify herself for him,
ويشتاق إليه.
and she would desire him.
فيسهل الرجوع بينهما.
So it makes it easy and quick for them to return to each other.
لكن لو ذهبت إلى بيت أهلها.
But on the other hand, if she were to leave the house and go to her family's home,
ربما أهلها يثيرونها عليه.
when she's over there, the family is talking to her and making her more upset with him.
ويصل خبر إلى أهله هو.
And then that news of what her family is saying about him reaches her husband's family.
فيثيرونه عليه.
And then his family starts to say to him, yeah, she's no good too.
ولا يتراءون يوميا.
And they don't see each other in this process.
يتكون حاجز بينهم.
So the barrier between them, it becomes bigger and stronger.
ولو أراد الرجوع إليها من الصعب أن يرجع إليها في بيتها وفي بيت آخر.
And if either one of them wanted to come back to the other one, it becomes difficult for them.
بينما في بيتها بسهولة يرجع.
Whereas if they were in the same house, in his house, then it's real easy to come back.
لذا قال الله عز وجل لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك.
And this is why Allah Ta'ala mentioned about divorce. It may be that Allah will create. Don't put them out of their homes. They shouldn't leave. It may be that Allah will create something between them.
وهو ينفق عليها ويسكنها كل شيء هي زوجته.
And while they're in that condition, he's still paying for her place to live, for her food and everything else, because she's still his husband.
الضابط التاسع.
The 9th point.
أنها 3 حيضات مدة الطلق كما يقال العدة الواحدة.
Is that when the man divorces his wife, she has to wait for 3 monthly cycles to come and go.
وذلك لإطالة هذه المدة.
And that is so that the duration of her iddah can be long. It's a long period.
حتى يراجع الرجل نفسه ويتراجع لنفسه.
So in this long period of waiting 3 months, the man comes back to his senses. He thinks about it. The lady has ample amount of time to come to her senses. Think about what happened.
وفترة العدة هي ما زالت زوجة له.
And in this idda period, the first divorce, she's still his wife.
الضابط العاشر.
The 10th point that Islam came to reduce the divorce rate.
أنه لم يفصل العلاقة بينهما بطلقة واحدة بل أمامه 3 طلقات.
And that is, when the man divorces the wife one time, the relationship is not finished. He gets 3 opportunities. He has 2 more opportunities.
عنده الفرصة الأولى للطلق ثم الفرصة الثانية ثم بعد ذلك الطلقة الثانية.
So he divorced her once on one occasion. And then after that they live. And then he divorces her a second occasion. And then the third one, he has one more final one at another occasion. And then this third one, if the third one happens at a third different occasion, then she can't come back to him. Ikhwani, also the 11th point about this issue, number 11, and that is before the divorce, if these two do not agree between themselves, Allah Ta'ala mentioned that when they have these problems, there should come a judge, a representative from his side, his family, and a representative from her side, her family, so that those 2 representatives can agree between themselves. So if those 2 family members from either side agree to what should happen, then the husband and the wife have to obey what they agreed to. Allah has mentioned in this regard, so let them send forth a judge, representative from his side, a judge representative from her side. And if these 2 judges, if they want the islah, they want rectification, then Allah will make the rectification happen. The last point that we want to mention here, and that is, it is an obligation upon the wife to listen to and to obey the husband when there's differences of opinion.
لا يجوز لها أن تعاند في الرأي إذا انتهى الأمر إذا قرر الزوج أمر لا يجوز لها أن تعاند.
So if the husband decides something, it's not permissible for the lady to be stubborn and to be in opposition to what he has decided.
فقال الله عز وجل فالصالحات قانتات أي مطيعات لأزواجهن.
Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned in the Quran, describing the women, that the salihat, the good women, are the ones who are qanitat. They are obedient to their husbands.
وتعرف الزوجة حينئذ في مثل هذا.
And the zawja, the lady, she knows at this time,
أن الرجل مع أنه هو القوام ويجب طاعته.
the woman has to know that the husband is the authority and he has authority over her.
فإنه كما عليه أن يعرف طبيعتها.
As is obligatory upon him to know her nature,
فكذلك عليها أن تعرف طبيعته.
she also has to know his nature.
فإن في طبيعته هو عدواني.
His nature is a nature, the man, the husband's nature is a nature that the Sheikh said was udwani. It's a nature that there's enmity.
وهذا ملاحظ في الأطفال الصغار.
And you can see this and detect it even with the small children.
الولد عمره 5 سنوات والبنت عمرها 5 سنوات.
Look at the case with the little boy, he's 5 years old, and the little girl who's 5 years old.
عمره 5 سنوات ويعتدي على الكل.
You'll see he's 5 years old and he's just tough with everybody. He has enmity and he's real tough with everybody.
لكن عمرها 5 سنوات نجدها تسمع الكلام.
But on the other hand, the little girl, same age, 5 years old, the boy is rough and tough with everybody. But the little girl, on the other hand, she's calm. She listens to what you have to say. She follows directions and instructions. So the point here is the woman has to know the nature of the man. This is how it is with the 2 5-year-old children. What do you think is the case with a grown man? He's a person who wants to be in control. He wants to be in charge. He wants to have the upper hand.